This here is the Volkswagen New Beetle by Maisto in 1/18 scale, a car so iconic that almost every living person on Earth would know about it. It's one of the most important cars in German history and probably in automobile history as well. The second generation Beetle has reinterpreted the original Beetle's look in such a refined way that it looks classic yet sophisticated even as of 2022. If you're a car fan, it's kind of hard not to own this car in a scale model. I'm Zephyr Chung with Iris Diecast, and today I'll be taking you in and out of this Volkswagen Beetle, show you all its little features and details, and in the end tell you if this Volkswagen Beetle by Maisto is worth having. So let's get going. From late 90s to early 2000s, there was this huge retro theme boom with companies seeking original designs reinterpreted with modern details, which led to many design masterpieces like the 5th generation Ford Mustang, the Mini Hatch, and more. The new Beetle was one of them. Launched in 1998, this car is heavily inspired by the original Beetle. For example, the sloping headlamps, the round rear lamps, the high roofline, and the vestigial running boards. So Maisto's model of the new Beetle comes in four colors: red, yellow, green, and blue, although only red was produced until very recently, making it a more common color. So here is the front of the model. This is actually an older Maisto produce, so overall looks pretty great. My car is in blue, which is one of the more uncommon colors. Actually, I wanted green or yellow, but I picked this one up because it was only $7 including shipping. So there wasn't really a reason to not get this car. But now that I keep looking at it, I think blue is also a really attractive color. It's kind of hard to express it. The video doesn't really capture it, but in person, it's not a very deep blue. It's light and mystic, if I may explain it that way. And I still use a lot of pearl for the paint, so it's really great looking. So due to the headlamps being sloped on the real car and the model itself, the bonding beams are this this clear plastic rod, which makes it look a lot better than the typical flat bonding beams that Maisto cars use. They use separate plastic parts for the fog lamps down here and over here, instead of just painting on. And surprisingly, the bumper grill is open with holes inside them, which is unusual again since Maisto cars typically use a single piece of plastic for the grill, so it's usually all blocked. They used a chrome badge for the Volkswagen logo, which is very nice. They didn't just simply put a sticker there. And unlike the original Beetle, which was rear-wheel drive and rear engine, the new Beetle is front-wheel drive with the engine up front, which is because it shares the platform with the 4th generation Volkswagen Golf. And Maisto's Beetle has the 1.9 liter inline 4 TDI diesel engine. The engine detail is pretty decent for a car in this price range. It's not a flat single piece of plastic like most cheaper model cars. And although they simplified a lot of detailed parts, they did put a sticker for the Volkswagen logo and the engine displacement logo. And coming on over to the side, I just love the round lines in the car. I think it just makes it really iconic and look absolutely gorgeous. They did the windows on this new Beetle, which is pretty unusual again since even older Maisto cars didn't have windows on them. That's a pretty neat quirk since it stops dust from getting into the interior. And Maisto did a fine job with the rims, like always. The Volkswagen logo is pretty cleanly printed onto the wheel caps, complete with the brake calipers in the back. And of course, you can open the doors to see the interior. It has a decent door opening angle. Maisto cars often have terrible door opening angles. And the door opens outward. The interior is finished in this beige black two-tone. And they did a pretty clean job. I mean, everything is really clean. Oftentimes cheaper cars have blurred paintwork in the interior, but as you can see with the door panels, even the door handles and the buttons on the armrest, they are painted on really cleanly, and which is the same with the dash, the steering wheel, and the center console, the center control panel. So it's done really neatly, and I would dare say that it rivals the interior quality of more upscale models. And here is the view from the passenger side. And I really like the seats on this car. They're not too thick like most cheaper model cars, and it's some kind of a softer plastic model. It's, you know, bendy. I think it's really neat. It can capture the subtle thickness difference between the back of the cushion and the front of the cushion, and it looks closer to the leather material used on the real car. So I was really impressed with it. And here is the rear of the vehicle. Again, Maisto spared no plastic parts for lamps here, and the rear lamp is not bad. The bonding beams are a little bit more noticeable than the lamps up front, but it's still alright. The Volkswagen logo also uses a chrome badge like up front. And they've also expressed the heated rear windows. And you can open this whole hatch in the rear. Which functions as a trunk space. And another thing I was really impressed with the model is the gap between the opening parts. You can see that there's hardly a gap between the trunk and the body of the car. Same for the doors. The gaps are not too noticeable. And the ones up front too. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because this is about finishing, and usually one of the major differences between a cheaper model car and a more expensive model car is the level of finishing. Usually cheaper cars are hastily finished with a large opening parts gap, but this car was finished really nicely, and I think it has a really fine build quality for a car in this price range. So that was my review on the 118 Maisto Volkswagen New Beetle. This one wasn't on my list of must-have cars, but now that I have it, I think it's a really nice model, and I'm happy with it. I think this one is a lot better than the Barago version because the Barago's Beetle is out of proportion and has weird-looking rims. There is a higher-end outdoor version for the new Beetle, but I think the Maisto version is fine enough. The car has surprisingly good quality, and it comes in a ton of colors. So I would say that this is a great model to enjoy for everyone for around 20 bucks. And not only for model car collectors, but I think that it would make a pretty good home decoration gift. So that wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all of you later in a future video.